The ICF Canoe Sprint World Championships are brought to you by the Province of Ontario, the Government of Canada, and Tourism Niagara.
And here we have our lane assignments. In lane 2 from Russia, Alexei Vostrikov. In lane 3 from Hungary, keep your eye on Bensi Domvari. And lane 4, Indonesia's Ching Arabram. And lane 5, Pakistan's Shoaib Khan is in lane 5. Japan's Makoto Sakata in lane 6. In lane number 7, South Africa's Martin Vandenberg. And lane number 8, Uruguay's Sebastian Romero. That's your field.
Traditionally, the athletes to watch in this race will be lanes 2 and 3, Hungary and Russia. Lots of history in both those countries in kayak, but we never know. Japan often has strong athletes, as does South Africa.
I want you to keep an eye on lane number 4, Indians Ching Arabram. I've been very impressed with the field that they've sent so far, but the pre-race favorite for me has got to be Hungary, Bensi Domvari.
It's a great shot of lane 4. It's a big athlete, looks strong. We'll know soon enough if he's going to be a contender. It's highly possible.
And look on his inside, lane number 2 is Russia's Vostrikov and Pakistan's Shoaib Khan in lane 5, but South Africa's Vandenberg's in lane 7. Keep your eye on him as well.
We have one empty lane, lane 5. Pakistan is missing, which again means all these athletes will go through to the semifinals. And again, it means they have a choice of whether or not they're going to test themselves or just coast through and save everything they can for the semifinals.
This will be lane 3, Hungary's Bensi Domvari, and the Russian in lane 2.
Strong start from the Hungarian, strong start from the Russian, and lane 8 as well, very quick. But the South African looks to be moving very nicely right now. High rate, nice connection, boats running smoothly, looks good.
One of the things you'll notice is off the start, they go much quicker for about 200 meters, and they settle into a working pace stroke. About 120 strokes a minute is the working rate. Off the start, it's 180, so you'll see their stroke rate actually drop in about 15 seconds.
Yeah, it does tend to drop quite a bit, especially in a heat. Very different than in a final where you're flowing it the whole way. There's no time to rest. In a semifinal or in a heat, a little more room to play, a little more room to reach it out.
And here's a nice shot. We can see Vostrikov, and there's lane number 3, the Hungarian Domvari. Well in control. They know what they're doing. Big, strong guy.
Nice strong Hungarian paddler there. Lane 2, you can see the difference in stroke rate between these two athletes. Just comes down to technique, what you've grown up with, what your body can do. There's some Canadian geese on the course right now, which could cause a bit of a problem. I've raced in Europe numerous times where there's been ducks or swans on the course, and it's always disconcerting. You basically paddle through them as that athlete head to. That could come back and be a problem. We're lucky that everyone's going directly to the semifinals, because otherwise there could be a protest of some kind when something like that happens. If something interferes with your race and it's not your fault and has nothing to do with you, it's not fair. And going forward, they have to adjust for that, and sometimes there are re-races.
And that's part of paddling. It's nature at its best, and we're an on-water sport, so you've got to have those contingencies.
Coming through the 500, lane 2, lane 3, followed by lane 7. Very close between the Russian and the Hungarians, lane 2 and 3, but the Russian about a meter ahead at the 500-meter mark.
And there we have a nice, great shot of the Russian in the white jersey, Vostrikov. And to his immediate right, you'll see shortly is the Hungarian Domvari. And on the far outside in third position is the South African Vandenberg. I'm impressed with Vandenberg. Look at his stroke rate, very strong and collected.
Yeah, the South Africans are often send very strong kayakers out. They have a long history of marathon paddling, so we know they're fit, we know they're good. And they've had some excellent 1,000-meter paddlers before.
That was a great shot of the crane in the background. That's got our fly cams. And here we see the Russian in lane number 2 coming up with the black Nello and the white jersey. Nice in-control stroke.
Yeah, they're looking very solid. They're almost at the three-quarter mark of the race now. Again, these athletes know they're going through. They're calm, they're relaxed, but they still want to send a message, and they definitely want to get a good lane for that semifinal. You cannot afford to mess around in the heats if you are planning to go to that final. Through the 200-meter mark, the Russian by a boat, followed by the Hungarian with a boat over lane 7, South Africa.
And you'll see in the background a bicycle. That's usually a coach pacing their athlete, but this is Vostrikov from Russian too. And he's coming into the finish line now, Tom. He's got about 150 meters left to go, and he's being paced, followed very nicely by the Hungarian Domvari. And here comes the South African, Vandenberg, in for the finishing close.
Yeah, it's a 3-boat race, but these two, lanes 2 and 3, are fighting. The rates have come up. They both want this win. The Hungarian, very long, cool, collected strokes, picking up that rate, going for the connection. They are neck and neck with 20 meters left. 10 meters left. It is anybody's race. Too close to call from the tower. Lane 7 comfortably in 3rd place. It's going to be followed by lanes 8, then 6, and then 4. Remember, all boats go direct to the semifinal. Go around and get them out of the way. Here are the final results. So this is the fastest race we've seen, 3:33, about 2 seconds over the past races. You can see how close those two athletes were, about 0.2 of a second separating first and second, with a comfortable lead over third at 3:39.
And nice to see Ching Ching Abraham from Indonesia in there for a solid 6th.